Hi everyone, welcome to a Stamping to Share video. My name is Kay Kalthoff, independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and today I'm going to share with you how to create this really nice card. It's a card that could be used for a lot of different things. I just put "just because" down here, but you could easily see how you could change the sentiment out. It could be a sympathy card, a birthday card, a thinking of you card, or you could leave the sentiment off altogether and then just stamp a sentiment on the inside, or maybe just leave it blank. So this is what the inside looks like. So let me go ahead, get started, and show you how to create this card. This card uses 3 stamp sets from Stampin' Up. The first stamp set is called Kind and Cozy. It's this lovely circle image right here. It's great for putting on top of mason jars or things like that that you want to put treats in. So it's a great stamp set for treats. And then we're going to use this little flower in the inside panel. Then we're also going to use the A Dozen Thoughts. I'm going to use the Just Because down here, but there's several different sentiments that would work, and my customers will get to choose which one they want to put on their card. And then I'm also using this butterfly flower circle element from Serene Silhouettes. I've had this stamp set a couple of years, but I've never actually used this particular stamp, and so I challenged myself to use that stamp in a card. And so this is the card I came up with. And the first thing, of course, that we'll need is a piece of Pear Pizzazz cardstock. And goodness knows, I'm usually pretty good about giving out my measurements, but I forgot to do it for this one, and I don't see my paper here. But this is a standard piece of cardstock, and it's cut at 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. I'm just going to fold it in half, and then I'm going to take my bone folder, which must have run away with the measurements because that's not here either. But we're just going to leave this and set that aside for now. Let's work on the inside panel. I do have those measurements. That's 4 by 5 1/4, and I think we're going to go ahead and stamp that and get that out of the way. So I'm going to use that little flower, and I'm inking it up in Pear Pizzazz, and I'm just going to stamp that 3 times along the bottom of my card, just like that. Then we can take some snail, and I do have that. Goodness, I'm not very prepared this morning. But, we're just stamping on the fly. That's what we're doing today. So here is the element for the inside of the card. Already done. Now the outside of the card, I'm going to show you, there's quite a few layers. There's a really, really skinny layer here. And actually this panel that we use with the framelits on the Big Shot machine, that actually is cut out from that vanilla panel inside. So that panel, that vanilla panel, is 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And the panel that goes on top of it is 3 5/8 by 4 7/8, and that's out of Marina Mist cardstock. Now before we put this panel down onto our card, I am going to actually take my framelit, which is from the Banners Framelit collection, and it's the second largest one, and you can see that I've already cut that with the Big Shot machine. And this is the banner that I'll be using, and this is the panel that I'm going to glue straight down onto the top of my card. So I'm going to do that. I've got my multi-purpose liquid glue here, and I'm just going to put a little bit of glue all the way around this vanilla panel. This is a good use of your cardstock because nobody knows that underneath that layer there's a hole where the banner used to be. Alright, so this is nice and centered. Then we can go ahead and take that 3 5/8 inch by 4 7/8 inch panel of Marina Mist, and we'll just go ahead and put that straight down as well. That goes right here. And one of the reasons, again, that I like using the multi-purpose liquid glue is I have a few seconds to just kind of adjust that so that all of my layers look nice and even all the way around. Now back to this banner. What I did is I went to the Big Shot machine, and using my wood grain embossing folder. I just went ahead and embossed this. Now if you have troubles with your wood grain actually cutting all the way through your paper, just put a piece of vellum, and I used the cardstock vellum from Stampin' Up, just secured it down with some snail. Just put that on the top, and it will prevent that breaking through your paper. Alright, so then what we need to do is we're going to wrap this with some baker's twine. I believe this baker's twine is retiring in a few days here, so I'm going to use it up. And I'm just going to cut some off. And what I've done is I've actually wrapped the end of it into a bridge threader. I don't know, can you see that? It looks sort of like that. And it's just something that the dentist's office gives out to people that have bridges. And it works really great. And I think you can buy it at Target and Walgreens and places like that. But that's what I use on my Very Vanilla Vintage button to thread that button. So you can see how easy this works. It takes just a couple seconds and we have our button threaded. And now we're just going to layer this onto the top of this panel right here. So to layer it, just going to flip it around, and I am going to secure that with some Scotch tape, just because it's fast and easy and handy. So that side is secured. Then I'm going to bring this other side around and secure that as well. Oh dear, I can tell this is probably going to be one of those long, boring videos, but thank you for sticking with me so far. It's just one of those cards. It's not really terribly complicated, but there are a few steps to it that do take a little bit of time. So here we go. Now this button is a little bit floppy, so what I'm going to do is I've got my paper piercer and I'm grabbing a mini glue dot. Put that mini glue dot, well, onto my paper piercer, and then I can go ahead and just put that underneath the button. And now our button is secure, so it won't fall off when it won't flop around on our card. And now we can just glue this in, so that's ready to be glued down. And I'm putting a liberal amount of glue on just because there's so much texture on the back of this. So that can just go right there. Beautiful. Okay, now let's go ahead and get our sentiment stamp down here. So I have the Just Because, and I want that to look very, soft on the bottom. So I'm stamping it tone on tone. So I use Marina Mist ink, and there it is. Looks lovely. So now let's go ahead and just do the last two finishing elements on this card. And what I did is I just took a couple pieces of scrap paper here. I can grab them. And one piece of scrap paper. These are Very Vanilla. We are just going to ink up that circular element from Serene Silhouettes. Stamp that. And then we're going to take the other circular element from Kind and Cozy and stamp that here. And now all we have to do is punch it out. So this particular element, this will fit in perfectly into the 1 3/4 inch circle punch. And the other element fits perfectly into the 2.5 inch circle punch. I love all of the Big Shot machine items that we have, but once in a while I really enjoy just grabbing a punch because it takes no time at all. There we go. We have our things ready to go here onto the card. So here's the original card. I might as well put that back in the picture. And here's the card we're working on. And so now we're going to need some glue dots. Not glue dots, dimensionals. Dimensionals. And I like to use 3 of them on circles. So I'm just going to put 3 dimensionals on the back of this larger circle. And that is going to go right about here. And then we're going to also pop up the smaller circle. So again, 3 dimensionals. Works absolutely lovely. And this will go over here. And this is one of the cards on my card buffet this month. And I think my customers will really enjoy it. So now we're just going to set this right in the middle here. There we go. We have 2 completed cards. Hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I'll give you a little bit of close-up again. Have a great day, and thanks so much for stopping by Stamping to Share. I truly appreciate you. Bye-bye.